Hey everyone, and happy 4th of July. I know I missed last week's, or I missed yesterday's Facebook Live. I'm sure you're all disappointed that I didn't go live on Friday, but I had the day off from my other job, and we spent the day as a family going and doing a hike and just having a nice day as a family. So I didn't get a chance to pop on here and talk to everyone. But I still want to do my Facebook Live for the week, so I figured today I'll jump on and talk to you guys for a little bit. And today, here in the States, it is the 4th of July, our Independence Day, so I hope everyone has, if you're in the United States, has a nice 4th of July, enjoying some time with friends and family and all that fun stuff, and seeing some good fireworks. So I'm about to head out to a barbecue in a little bit, and but I want to pop on here and talk to everyone before we leave for the day. Um, Last week I talked a little bit about why I think an ancestral approach to life is a good way or good framework for achieving your goals and overcoming your obstacles. And I talked about the different pillars that make up my view of what an ancestral approach to life is. And today I want to dive a little bit deeper into one of those pillars, and that would be one of everyone's favorite pillars, and that's food. So I think food plays an important role. It is a hotly debated topic, but no matter what your goal is, I think that food plays an important role in health, performance, longevity. No matter what your end goal is, it's probably going to play some role in what you're trying to do. So, if you take a look at food from an ancestral point of view, um, there's lots of different ways that people have eaten over the hundreds of thousands of years that we've inhabited this planet, and it's very clear that from what I've seen that people can be successful eating a variety of different ways. We evolved eating diets that range from mostly meat. If you take a look at the people that live in the far north, the Inuit, or you can take a look at people who live at the equator, and you'll find people who eat a lot of fruit. And then you'll find some modern day hunter-gatherers that eat a lot of starchy, tubey vegetables. And then you'll find modern hunter-gatherers that completely live off of dairy and blood from cows. I was listening to a podcast about that the other day. So there's lots of different ways that we can survive, and there's lots of different diets out there. And I think people get caught up in, trying to find the quote unquote right diet for them. And there is no one right diet that's going to work for everyone. You know, we all have different genetic backgrounds, epigenetics. We live in different climates, live in different areas. We have different preferences. We have different just backgrounds. We have different ways we enjoy. We have different ways of celebrating, and for some people, it might look like a nice, balanced, diverse diet where you eat, a good amount of protein and lots of vegetables and some fruit and starchy carbs. And for other people, it might be all vegetables and very little animal protein or no animal protein. For some people, it might be all raw vegetables all the time, and they're successful doing that. And so you can see just by looking at the way we eat today that is also very diverse, and there's no right way to do that. But when I talk about an ancestral approach to food and eating, that basically means I base my approach to working with clients, and I find to be most successful as long as we stick to ancestral foods that were natural, we evolved eating, things that didn't come in a box. If you were to go to a grocery store, things that would grow, or that would grow, that are located on the outer edge of the grocery store, not those inner aisles. So if you think about the way they arrange grocery stores, right, it's mostly the vegetables, the fruits, the meat, all that stuff is on the outer edge, and then in the aisles is all the pre-packaged, Frankenstein foods that we didn't evolve eating. So that's the basis of what I recommend everyone do, right? I don't care, and then we can start tweaking from there, right? Maybe you like certain proteins, you don't like other proteins, you don't like any protein, you only like plant proteins, you like very little vegetables. Maybe vegetables bother your digestive system. Maybe you have a problem with consuming a lot of carbohydrates, and that means that you want to stick away from the high carbohydrate foods. Maybe you're an athlete and you're looking to perform very well, and carbohydrates are very important. But basically, no matter what your preference is or what your goal is, we fit that goal around an ancestral diet, basically. So it looks like things like animal protein, plant protein, lots of vegetables if you can tolerate them, fruit, starchy vegetables as well as non-starchy vegetables. I want to make that distinction. Dairy is something I don't personally consume a lot of myself, but lots of people can do fine with it and enjoy it, and I think it can be a part of a healthy diet as long as it's coming from healthy animals, right? So we want, just like we want to try to get the best quality meat that we possibly can. We want the dairy that gets produced by those animals to come from healthy animals, right? So pasture-raised, grass-fed, free-range type of animals. Eggs, nuts, seeds, those types of things. Fermented foods, I think, are great. I really encourage people to eat a lot of fermented foods if they, again, do well with them, right? And they like them. And of course, I just want to call out fish. I think fish and shellfish are very underrated in diet. I try to eat fish every single day, at least at one meal. And like tonight, I'm probably gonna have some nice sockeye salmon burgers, Alaskan sockeye salmon burgers. Super excited about that to celebrate tonight. But yeah, salmon, sardines, mackerel, cod, haddock, all kinds of fish, lobster, clams, mussels, oysters, all that fun stuff. So that's also a great part of a diet. Obviously organ meats are great if you can really tolerate them or learn to tolerate them, or mix them into other meats so that you can't taste them. Those are all great. Those are all staples of my diet. From my point of view as an athlete, my diet is mostly composed of animal meats, fish, lots of vegetables. I eat a lot of vegetables, and almost all of my carbohydrates come from vegetable sources: sweet potatoes, squash, fruits. That's where I'm getting all of my carbohydrates for. Now, when I do have some days where I like to consume a large amount of carbohydrates for performance reasons, and to get there, I need to consume some things that some people may not consider as ancestral as some of these other foods, right? So I also turn to things like white rice, gluten-free oatmeal, and buckwheat on occasion. And that's purely due to the fact that I'm trying to reach 300 grams of carbohydrates with fruits and vegetables is just too filling, and I need just a dense source of carbohydrates. And those are the most least offensive kind of quote unquote grains that I can comfortable consuming and I do well with. So that's what I turn to if for myself, as well as athletes that are looking to consume a harder carbohydrate diet, may have a tough time getting in enough carbohydrates from fruits and vegetables. But the base is always fruits and vegetables, and then I add on top of that when I need to. So, and I think I left out potatoes. I eat a lot of sweet potatoes, perfectly. Sweet potatoes are my favorite. Yeah, so that's basically what my diet looks like, and lots of my clients' diets look the same. Like I said, they might have less carbohydrates, they might have less vegetables, they might prefer certain cuts of meat. They might not really like fish, they might not like organ meats, but it's based around this ancestral diet that's from whole natural foods. And some clients, they do fine with some things, like they prefer to keep in things like um, uh, you know white rice and gluten-free oatmeal and stuff like that. And I'm typically fine with it as long as it is not hindering them from keeping their goals or is helping them reach their goals. So I don't, not so dogmatic that I can say you never should have, um, you know, a grain, a gluten-free grain ever again. And even if you tolerate gluten, I think, as long as it's a good quality thing, like if you get a nice, big, fresh sourdough bread, that where it came from, or you made yourself, like, okay, go for it, eat it. That's my approach to diet, and we kind of, when I work with clients, we kind of tweak from there, right, and just move things up and down based on personal preference and goals. So if anyone has any questions about the ancestral approach to diet, and what that means, or how I would deal with certain situations, and based on you have a certain special situation you might be concerned about. Maybe you're trying to deal with higher blood sugar, or you're trying to perform as an athlete, or you're looking to lose weight. What would I recommend there, and all that type of stuff? Just reach out to me, leave a comment, direct message me below. Happy to chat with you about it. Always happy to help and answer these questions. And I know there's a lot of confusion out there about what's the right, thing when it comes to diets. Is this food bad? We've pretty much demonized all foods, food groups at this point: fats, carbs, protein, even at this point, especially animal protein has been demonized. So it's kind of confusing. What do you eat when you can't, when everything is quote unquote bad for you? I know it's confusing, it's hard to navigate, so please reach out, ask questions, and we can talk a little bit more about what might work for you and your goals. With that said, I hope everyone has a good 4th of July, and I hope everyone's well and staying healthy. And if you want to get a lot of this information directly delivered to you every week, so you don't have to miss my Facebook Live or my blog posts or whatever, you can go to my website, rjbhealth.coach, and sign up for my newsletter, which I'll send out twice a week with content from the week, so that you get delivered right to your inbox, and you don't really have to be afraid of missing out on anything. Lots of good stuff, free, and pretty much I think it's pretty useful. So like I said, everyone have a good day. Happy 4th of July here in the US, and I will talk to you all next week.